Welcome to Creative Tien channel. Today I'm trying to make a yoke sweater, and I'm trying to make a 5-year-old size. So I measure the size of my 5-year-old son's sweater and try to match the dimension. When I do the yoke sweater from bottom up, the idea is to go from the button, the ribbon, and then go to the underarm, and we'll do the same for the sleeves. Start from the ribbon and stop at the underarm for both sleeves, and then we'll pick up stitch all the way and then knit the yoke going up. And I already swatched on my LK150 knitting machine with the worsted weight yarn and tension 9 on the Carriage, the highest tension, and tension 7 on the mast. From my swatch, I have around 4 stitches and 4.5 rows per inch. So to make the 13 inches wide, I cast on around 52 stitches. From the left 26 to the right 27 actually, because I want to hand manipulate the ribbon. So I try to have it every third stitch to be reformed. And it depends on what kind of ribbon you want to make. You can adjust the stitches. So I already started with a few rows of plain knitting. Since this is a ribbon, I'm using a smaller tension here. I use tension 8 on the Carriage. And for the main part, it will be tension 9. So I need around 8 rows, and now I'm ready to do the ribbon. And for this ribbon, I like it to be every third needle. So here's the first stitch. That's actually the third one from the right. I drop off. It's better to take off the cast on comb or the weight. I can drop all the way. You can save the last one. See, there's a loop here, because there's a cast on row in the beginning, so you can save the first 2 rows and just hook it up from this row. Or you can drop down all the way and then make a little turn to tighten up the first 2 rows. So the purl stitch is down here, and then the third stitch, drop off. Here I save the last. See the last one here? So I can latch up from here. And we just continue all the way to finish up the ribbon. This is the front center part of the sweater. Now I finished the ribbon part, I can continue the plain knitting. I measure the sweater dimension from the ribbon to the underarm. It's about 7 and 5 inches. So 7 and 5 times 4.5 rows per inch is around 33 rows. So you can decide you want to add 1 or 2 more rows, or you can subtract 1 or 2 more rows. I'm going to keep it 34 rows. Change the dial back to 000 and the tension back to 9, the main tension. And I'm just going to knit 34 rows. After 34 rows, I'm just going to knit a few rows of waste yarn and take it off the machine. And I will do another identical piece for the back part. So the next is to measure the dimension of the sweater sleeves we want and then knit it. And we can do some shaping because here is usually wider and the ribbing part is smaller. So I'm measuring the top of the sleeve when it's joined with the body part, and this is about 9 inches, and this part is around 6.5 inches. So here is a setup for my sleeves. I have 29 stitches from the left 14 to the right 15, and I will try to keep the same type of ribbing every third stitch to do a reform. But of course you can do 1 by 1 ribbing or 2 by 2 ribbing. Now I finished the ribbing for the sleeves. We can look at the chart here because we'll have to do some increase. And I start with 29 stitch, and it's supposed to be around 36 stitch on the upper part of the arm. So I'm planning to increase on 2 stitch for every 10 rows. And then another 10 row, 2 stitch, another 10 row, 2 stitches. So I will have 6 stitch increased. So 29 plus 6 will be 35. And it's not 36 stitch, but it's close enough. Or you can always add a stitch at the beginning of the sleeve after the ribbing. It's up to you, but I think 35 will be okay in my case. We'll do 10 rows of plain knitting and increase 2 stitches. Now I need 10 rows. I'm going to do the full fashion increase on both sides. And you can use a 3-prong transferring tool or the 2-prong tool. So the increase part is not at the outermost edge. It just makes it a little bit nicer. So I have the 3-prong tool. Move 1 stitch out and place back to the needles. And for the empty stitch, we just pick up 1 stitch. I will pick up the purl bump from the 3rd stitch and place it on the empty needle. So that's 1 stitch increased on the right side, and we'll do the same on the left side. Move out 1 stitch. And pick up the purl bump next to the stitch of the empty needle. Pick it up and place on the empty needle. Now we can continue knitting 10 more rows and do the increase again. And we will follow this little diagram. And so the total will be 45 rows from here to the top. So we need 2 more increase. In the part 2, we'll talk about how to connect all the pieces together and start the yoke part and the neck. Thank you for watching and see you next time.